we are live for the. Let me do the sound check from our end whether the streaming audio is correct or not. Quickly, you can also you can hear me clearly, right?
I can hear you clearly.
Yes. Yeah, fine. We are live and our audio is also aligned. So thank you once again, Dipanshu, for joining. And just to give the audience the background, so in today's conversation, we will actually hold towards a very sensitive and very up to date topic which we are going through. And at this moment, it is very critical also to understand how it is going to impact our job landscape overall. So the core topic which we have outlined, आज का discussion हम लोग करेंगे कि ले ऑफ जो हो रहा है, करंट जो ले ऑफ्स हो रहे हैं ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में अक्रॉस ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, एंड हाउ इट इज चेंजिंग द लैंडस्केप, किस तरह से ये हमारा जो जॉब सेक्टर है और जो मार्केट है और वेरियस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, वेरियस डिफरेंट डिफरेंट सेगमेंट ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, कैसे ये इम्पैक्ट करेगा और किस किस सेगमेंट को ये इम्पैक्ट करेगा, दैट वी विल डिस्कस इन डिटेल. सो दैट्स द एजेंडा. Before we deep dive, I just wanted to share some background about our guest here. So we have Dipanshu, and Dipanshu is a senior
I
leader.
will see.
Yeah, hi. And thank you so much for allocating the time for again today's very, I will say, very critical conversation here, and sharing the input which we are going to discuss on this. So, just to introduce to our viewers that Dipanshu has a extensive knowledge and working experience to in the digital transformation space, as well as primarily he works as a tech evangelist, and he on the consulting side of the business to bring new assignment or no opportunities for the organization. That's the core objective, and the overall subject matter expert he is from the problem solving point of view, where he applies various tools to solve the problem across various different verticals of business. So that's the background. Having said that, Dipanshuda, again, thank you, and welcome back. So as you heard the
Yeah,
discussion, जो एजेंडा हम लोगों ने अलाइन करा है, आप थोड़ा सा अगर बैकग्राउंड दे, आप एक्नॉलेज कर सकते हो या बैकग्राउंड दे क्या, वी कैन स्टार्ट. ओवर टू यू.
yeah. So thank you, Debasis, for inviting me into this very, very relevant topic. Okay. So this has been in thick of my mind. Some of my juniors also reached out to me on how the scenario is there, what is popularity. Some of the questions or the obvious questions which I see coming from fresher is what is most important in this day and age, which technology is important, which technology I should learn, how much I can ask, what compensation is enough, will I be impacted by layoff, is market going bad, will the job be in worry, do I need to take care of my savings, what will happen. All these questions are kind of very, very prominent, pertinent and relevant questions which I
Exactly.
think everyone is concerned about. Okay. And this is a fascinating time actually. I will tell you, so many things are happening across the world. And I think, Devasis, I would say so. This is the most important topic in this day and age, which we are expected to, we should discuss. Because if we don't discuss this, will will deprive our audience of the changing market needs, and we'll also deprive them of our honest assessment of how the market is behaving. Will they see their job impacted? So I think it's a very broader topic, but let's divide it into pieces, and accordingly we can have a free flowing discussion. Okay, so that people can take some insights from this discussion, understand something, and if they can just decide to work on those aspects or follow those trends, I think this session will become fruitful.
Sure, yeah, Definitely, yeah. So let us break down this जो भी section है, and then we can touch base one by one. So first, from which point you wanted to start? That what are the key events? Let's start with the key events, which actually can indicate that how exactly we can call out that there are changes in the landscape happening explicitly on the job
Yeah,
site.
yeah. So there was that's a very so let me start with something which has kind of risen like a bubble.
Mm-hmm,
Is education technology market, edtech market. Okay,
mm-hmm,
you might have heard of Byju's and many other players who have come in, Physics Wala, and many other players who have come into this arena, and suddenly their valuation has just increased to like anything. Okay,
mm-hmm,
and they have become billion-dollar company. Most of these organization. Okay, and everybody wants to have this billion-dollar valuation, and this suddenly this edtech market has grown like a bubble. Every player wants to enter into this particular market. Every player wants to transport the knowledge to the people,
mm-hmm.
but most of these organizations were not even able to do achieve break even. Okay, so profitability is still out of question. Break even itself is not achieved. So this year has started with many news. Okay, Baiju's first announcing that they are laying off their entire staff in Kerala and they are closing their office in Kerala. But now they have come up that will not close that office. Then Baiju's have kind of let go many people. I think, if I'm not wrong, 5 to 10% of their overall population. But then, as a best practice, they have also mentioned that provided we achieve break even, we'll lick out these associates whom we have chucked out to get them inside the organization. Not only Byju's here, there are many other organizations who have undertaken the layoffs. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
there has been layoff. Most popular layoff, I would say so, is Twitter. Twitter
Exactly.
actually chucking off 50 to 60% of their employee base. But is it really a market driven, or there were some other factors? We will discuss all of these things. But the layoff is kind of a reality. Most of the startups these days, I'm hearing news of the layoffs. People are being asked to move away from the organization. People suddenly placing their resumes in the market that we are looking for a job, we are looking for a hire. So the trend of layoff is pretty much in the market. Okay.
awesome. So if you can highlight मतलब अगर की जो पॉइंटर्स है चलिए ठीक है ले ऑफ है लेकिन इसका पॉजिटिव साइड क्या है जो भी आपको लगता है एंड व्हाट आर द साइड व्हिच वी नीड टू बी केयरफुल अबाउट और बी विजिलेंट अबाउट रादर आई विल से
Yeah, that's a very important question. Devasis, first of all, let's break down this into pieces.
हम्म
The first thing is that key is layoff a positive word for whosoever goes through layoff can never say it's a positive word. Okay.
हम्म
But the thing is that let's flip this question, and we'll, though we will discuss it basically from an employee perspective or a people perspective, but let's discuss it from an organization perspective. Okay.
ओके
See, Devasis, actually what happens is that for every organization, be it a service organization, be it a product firm, some of the metrics which they need to track, one of the metric which they need to track is revenue per employee.
हम्म
And generally, every organization tries to plot a graph on how revenue per employee is it growing, is it flat, okay, or is it decreasing, okay. If I talk about service companies like big technology service companies, generally we need to have massive workforce. Why we need to have massive workforce? Because the requirement is that if we don't have resources on bench means we don't have spare resources, we cannot bag projects in future. We cannot go ahead and tell to the market, hey boss, we have resources available, provided you give us this project. will deploy these resources. But uh, similarly, product companies also used to acquire many resources because they were adding multiple features, and they are also interesting with new options. They are also experimenting with new options. Okay, so for that need they need a workforce. Okay, the third pointer which I would say ki see, though some of the metric which organization needs to track is that whether their revenue per employee is increasing or the graph is flat, increasing, decreasing. But at the end of the day, most of the organization kind of keeps on increasing their employee pool, because first of all they have to address the requirement, future requirements. They have to Product company have to address future needs or customer evolving needs. If they don't have the requisite team, they cannot maintain the operations and also deliver a
Exactly.
quality product. But the
Mm.
thing is that if these are the factors, okay, why suddenly layoff? Okay. See, layoffs are a kind of dependent on multiple aspects. Okay. One of the aspect is something is relevancy. Okay. Okay, and relevance, I would say relevance is most important term. See, the problem is that every organization, every firm, be it in technology or be it in manufacturing, they want to experiment. They want to have a team who can do nice experiments, create transformative products, create transformative services. But the problem is that they can invest money in these experiment only for a small period of time. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
every company, every unit per company will like to become self-sustainable in growing amount of time. You cannot have a function, okay, specifically in this day and age, which is not able to earn revenue or generate revenue on its own. Okay, so either it should be able to generate its own revenue because they have done some project. Okay, but if you'll ask me what should be the time period, ideally I would say if you are setting up any center of excellence or if you're investing any product, time span, the way I look at it, I would say give it 1 year or so. Okay, and then try to see the outcome of the product in terms of the quality product, in terms of the usage of the product, in getting new businesses, in terms of using the product to acquire new customers. So these are some of the parameters which I should consider. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but this is I'm talking about people who are working in areas which require investment, and they may have to be provided sometimes so that this investment could lead to some return for the organization so that the organization can derive the return on investment. Okay, but there are also other factors here. So some of the factors are, I would say, so comfortability, I will use the word comfortability. Actually what happens, most of the people, or specifically in the tech area or any sector here, in fact in manufacturing sector or in our earlier generation, people have this habit of getting too comfortable with the positions which they are working on. Okay,
Mm.
they say life is good. Okay,
Mm.
I'm doing good stuff, I'm enjoying the stuff. I may be working in something which has become obsolete, but there is always a position for me, and I'm at day and age that I don't want to learn more. Okay, so
Mm.
that's a giveaway attitude, but it's just that I value something else in my life. Okay, that's why I don't want to spend my entire life thinking about job. I will not
Mm.
call that as a bad thinking, but I would say that also plays a role in the layoff. Is that because if you have not upgraded your skills, if you're not relevant for the organization anymore, organization works on the basis of a profitability. Okay, so you can think it in this particular way, though it's a kind of a bad anecdote. But if you consider organization as a human body, okay,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and employees as the critical arm of the organization. If let's suppose say one critical body function starts working properly, improperly, and it is impacting the function of other critical arms of the organization, then, like in the normal procedure in human body, we'll remove that part which has become cancerous or which is causing problems for us,
Mm-hmm.
okay, or
Mm-hmm.
which is causing illness. So most of the organizations also prefer to kind of remove remove
The
workforce who
non-functional,
they
yeah,
uh,
non-functional.
remove dysfunctional, non-functional.
Yeah.
Okay, but is it always the case? Is there no politics involved in it? Somebody may ask your audience. It's a very philosophical debate, but
Mm-hmm.
layoffs does not happen that way. Yeah, correct. Layoffs does not
Exactly.
happen that way. But
Mm.
have you ever heard if a company is doing very good, uh, they have resorted to layoffs? You will hardly hear that, because if a company is doing good, even people who are not working well, not doing good, they are not expelled out from the company. But as an individual, I should be in a position to assess how I am doing in an organization, how my
Mm-hmm.
role is evolving in an organization. If I am not able to judge my own self, okay,
Mm-hmm.
then I should always be prepared for the worst thing which can happen in anybody's life. So I'll have to take care of that particular aspect. Okay. So most of the organization, if they are in a if they are in a stagnating phase or declining phase,
Mm-hmm.
they will they will easily check out employees. They will first of all fire out employees who are low on performance. They'll fire out employees whose vertical they will deem it as irrelevant. Okay, they will even fire out employees uh, who are not working on projects, who may be top performers, but they are not working on projects which is giving enough revenue to the organization. So these are three factors. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say so key any individual in this day and age must be aware of these three things. First of all, they should not lose sight of the larger role. They should not be focused only on the work which they are doing, which I think is a very bad strategy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Always look at macroeconomic scenario, how the markets are behaving. Even if you don't understand these things, just read the news. Just try to understand how the changes are happening in the market. Okay. The second thing which I would say, which I have seen in you and I would encourage in everybody else, learn. There should never be a stop, there should never be a gap in learning. You should always try to learn as much as possible. Okay. Because learning never stops. Okay. The more you learn, and whatever you learn, trust me, reading any book will do wonders for you. But try to read a book. Okay. Try to watch something. If suppose you are a mobile addict, try to watch something which gives you interest. Okay. Try to watch a history channel. Try to watch any news analysis. Maybe if not India, then outside news analysis.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe try to understand other cultures. Okay. This will give you a flavor. This will always enhance your learning. See, learning is always good. Whatever you learn, I believe, if you'll ask me, is irrelevant. But continuous learning help you tackle all these scenarios because your mind opens up. And if your mind opens up, you are no longer fearful. So learn. Learn is the learn or upskilling is something. Learn is a separate aspect. Let's not put upskilling in this one. Upskilling is upgrading your skill, but learn is learning anything because it will improve your behavioral trait, personal trait, and knowledge trait itself. That's a given fact. Okay. The third aspect, which I would say, which is required in any particular sector, is upgrading your skill, upskilling yourself. Now what do you mean by upskilling? Generally people think in technology world, specifically from where we belong, overseas, that upskilling means learning new technology which is relevant in the market. Okay, I would not say ki that's a bad idea. I will not deny that. But the thing which I will caution against people, that instead of running towards new thing which is prevalent in the market, try to build your logic, try to build your analytical ability. Okay, if you have analytical ability, trust me, any new programming language, any new trend, any new concept is just a, so it's just a cakewalk for you. Okay, so build your analytical skills. Okay, so by analytical skills I don't mean that take a data analytics degree, but what I'm trying to say, build your analytical skills, develop logic in your mind, do things which can sharpen your mind, like practice mathematics, practice logical reasoning, practice data comprehension. Okay, if you will start analyzing these aspects, then you will realize that you are best prepared to handle any scenario. Okay, and when I'm talking about upskilling, I would say, so upskill yourself. Maybe if you don't have enough analytical skills, gather that. If you do not have people management skills, gather that. If you do not have team management skills, gather that. Okay, so these are the things, if you start gathering, then you can never say that the world is against you. You will always rise.
Awesome. So many आपने बहुत सारा इसमें इनपुट दिया. I just capture couple of them कि why layoff were happening. आपने वो touch base करा. Impact of layoff, you little bit highlighted that part. And most encouraging for me that you highlighted that कि कैसे, how exactly we can prepare ourselves that or rather prepare in the sense to even there is a book I was like reading is like irreplaceable, right? Or means you nobody can replace you, so you have to have and acquire those kind of skill set, so that and by observing market, because any changes you required you need to go first what is going on, right, with the right community, right forum. हम लोग उसको ऑब्जर्व करके वी कैन ऑब्जर्व कि क्या क्या चेंजेस हो रहा है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल बी अपडेटेड ऑन व्हाट्स हैपनिंग, बिकॉज नाउ एक चीज मैं और ऑब्जर्व कर रहा हूँ, इट्स वेरी फास्ट. लाइक इट्स नॉट दैट समथिंग इज हैपनिंग एंड इट विल इम्पैक्ट 6 months डाउन द line or 1 year down the line. The application is happening so fast that it's not no longer that हम लोग को wait करना पड़ेगा कि how it is impacting, right? Another is you mentioned on the skill and upgrading part, as well as continuous learning, which you mentioned, and mostly you highlighted that logical building exercise, analytical ability to improve, because these are the base or fundamental things we need to be strong in order to be irreplaceable, right? सो मेरा मेरा कुछ और डिफरेंट क्वेश्चन है. देखिए ये तो अभी जो मार्केट में हो रहा है, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल व्हाट इज द कॉज, रूट कॉज ओवरऑल, और मैं जेनरिक टर्म में बोल रहा हूँ, मैं एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को लेके नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. जेनरिक अगर ऐसा आता है, व्हाट इज टिपिकली रूट कॉज? इट इज ऑल कॉस्ट सेविंग ड्रिवन और इट इज लाइक मोस्ट ऑप्टिमाइजेशन ड्रिवन? व्हाट इज एग्जैक्टली रूट कॉज? ये क्या हो रहा है बेस्ड ऑन योर ऑब्जर्वेशन?
Okay,
हाँ.
okay. See, there are multiple factors. Okay,
हम्म.
one of course is cost optimization. One of course is evolving my customer preferences. Let me try and give you a very simple example. Okay. For example, let's suppose say in earlier generations, let's say if you are using a telecom product,
हम्म.
let's say you are using a mobile phone,
हम्म.
or let's say normal pay phone. At
ओके.
that time, they were all the pay phones of same color, hue, and size. Okay, there was one dominant player. There was a monopoly in the market, so there is
हम्म.
no competition. But nowadays, the competition is not only within the sector. Competition has developed across the sectors. So, for example,
हम्म.
a banking customer will compare the service which has been provided to him during the banking with the customer service which is being provided to him from a telecom operator, to the
Awesome.
customer service which is being provided to him from a electric utility operator or a gas utility operator or any such folk. Okay, he will try to compare all the experiences, and then he will make sense. Okay, which experience is much better, which experience I like to relieve. So any organization have to make sure that they achieve a level so that they are comparable across the organization. So generally most of the guys feel कि some of the metric we need to track is, let's say, cost,
Mhm,
margin,
mhm,
revenue, revenue per employee. but I think I would give credence to some of the other important metrics like NPS, Net Promoter Score, CSAT, customer satisfaction, because these are the parameters. If these are good, okay, trust me, no organization will say ki I still want to fire you even if the customer has given us a good net promoter score. Nobody will say that. So the
Mm.
thing is that this is one of the aspect key evolving customer preferences. Cost is of course, see, cost is the common answer. Every organization, for example, Twitter, Elon Musk has famously said कि we are losing $4 billion of revenue or $4 million revenue on a per day basis or per month basis. I forgot the exact number, so that's why I'm checking out the associates to make sure only the relevant folks are there in the company. But I will not go into debate whether the decision of firing in Twitter is correct or not. But I will generally touch base. Okay, so most of the organizations fire because they want to become sustainable. They
Mm-hmm.
want to optimize cost. They want to make sure that the experience being delivered to customer is of great quality. Okay. They want to make sure that their margins are good enough. Okay. So for example, if you are in a role where organization know that if they don't keep you, they will forego future revenue. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
then they will never like to throw you out. Okay, organizations should see that there is something in you. Okay,
Awesome.
but
Mm.
is this toxic? Most of the people will say that this is toxic. No, I understand it's a two-way street. Organization has to expect something from employee, and employee also has to expect something from organization. Perfectly with you on that one, and perfectly with the current generation on that trend. They have organization have to be in line with the employee. But what I'm
Mm.
only expecting them enhance your color or enhance your capability to such a level that organization feels that you are not just a resource for the organization, but you have developed into an asset. Okay. And if
Exactly.
you are an asset for the organization, an organization never would like to chuck their asset. And in fact, organization will be forced to take you to the topmost level. Okay. So they will say,
Mm-hmm.
here I would like to add, I've seen many leaders who say that generally you learn by your age. As and when you gain the experience, then only you will age. I
Mm-hmm.
genuinely don't believe that. I believe that if you have potential, in 20, 23, 25, you can become entrepreneur, you can become super successful, you can become damn rich, you can become a partner of any consulting firm, you can rise to very senior position in any organization, provided you have the potential and provided you have this rush inside your body that you have to climb the mountain. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, if you take every day as that this is my new day of learning, trust me, nobody can pull you back. And this is the thing which I would like to emphasize upon people. Okay, so even whom of them who have got impacted by layoff, I would say so. Okay, try to get a job. Of course, job is important. Otherwise, you cannot pay your bills. So get a job. But whichever job you go in, try to do more learning from day one. Okay. If you'll
Mm-hmm.
do learning in 5 to 6 months, you will never be in a position that you will not have any job by the time organization wants to chuck you out. So that's the approach I would say. So, Devasis.
Awesome. Okay, I really love the feedback you highlighted primarily towards that, improving the skills, explicitly be, future asset, right? So what is they need in future? If they know that your skill set, whatever I'm learning and I'm working in a team, it has a demand in future, organization will value by default because they can predict that these kind of skill set is required, right? And I really wanted to deep dive on the skills which you are और ये नहीं पता राइट अवे बोलना सही होगा कि नहीं बिकॉज देयर आर लॉट ऑफ एरेज ऑफ स्किल्स राइट लेकिन क्या है ऐसा स्किल सेट और लेट्स से टॉप 5 स्किल सेट आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट फ्रॉम टेक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू इज valuable apart from tech also. Holistically, if I say generic, as a generalist, कौन सा skills at least would be little bit safer compared to any other skill set which is available?
Okay, okay. Let me try and give you a very anecdotal example. See,
Mm-hmm.
when I'm talking about the skills, I'm talking about the skills which define the era in which you are living in. Okay. So let me try and give you an example.
Okay.
Suppose I have this ability of painting the billboard because I have
Mm-hmm.
been painting the billboard for quite a long time to paste cinema poster.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
because of the advent of digital, we no longer have this concept of cinema poster. So
Mm-hmm.
shall we
Mm-hmm.
not upgrade ourselves to learn about Microsoft Paint? Okay. Shall we not upgrade ourselves to learn about how to survive in this new day and age? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a Darwin simple theorem. Survival of the fittest. You cannot
Mm.
survive if you are the second best in the arena. You will always have to be the best. Okay. So in technology, in manufacturing, if I take about manufacturing, okay. So for example, if new trends in manufacturing comes in, let's say IoT or any other new stuff comes in, if you
Mm-hmm.
say, "Okay, no, no, I'll I'll be doing same stuff which I used to do in my steel melting shop earlier. Let's
Mm-hmm.
say I'm a part of the entire operational chain, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
continue to remain as it is." Then you have not added anything to your layer. You are expected to grow. If you grow there, let's say in a steel melting shop, you were part of one cycle of the operation. Now you learned about the second cycle, and then gradually you move to the head of the steel melting shop. Okay. So if you are
Exactly.
that kind of a person, then you will never fall back. Everybody will respect you. Everybody will give you position. So that's how it happens. Yeah. See, the thing is that KDBC is always learned when I'm talking about technology. So, for example, technology guys, if I talk about technology guys, what should they learn in this age? Now, everybody is kind of asking me this question: what
Mm-hmm.
certification should I do? Shall I do the cloud certification? Which cloud certification is going to be relevant? AWS, Azure, or Google? What should I do so that I become relevant? I get good money. Shall I learn low code, no code? Shall I learn RPA? Shall I learn ML, AI? Shall I learn become data analytics? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if you have the capacity, learn everything. Okay.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
But if you want to choose any one of them, then I'll not say choose this or choose that. Okay. The benefits available to each areas. You can learn RPA, you can learn machine learning, you can learn data analytics, you can be part of low code industry, you can be part of AR, VR, augmented reality, virtual reality, you can be part of cloud computing, you can be part of let's say traditional technology itself, but you have a skill like in Java, you can be part of new age .NET, anything you can be a part of. Okay. But be the best in the area wherever you are trying to gain your skills. Okay. But there is also one thing which I would like to say to Devis is one thing. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
something with today's day and folks, they are sometimes they behave like inflexible. They say, okay, I've been working on Java. I will continue to work on Java. I'll not learn new thing. Okay. Never. So here my suggestion is don't shut your mind. Okay.
Mm. Awesome.
Learning new thing is never bad. Okay. Who is stopping you to achieve the zenith of Java? Nobody is stopping you that. But who is stopping you to take uh, to smell new opportunities, to understand about new things which are happening in the market, to understand about evolving landscape. So how good you will be if you have spent your entire life in Java, yeah.
Mm.
Okay. I'm not saying learn that because any programming helps you build the logic. If you have started learning the logic, then any other platform you just have to learn the syntax. But you have to be aware of that to why I'm doing this learning. Sometimes people just want to do the learning, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
want to understand the intention behind the learning. Okay. And if
Exactly.
you don't have that defined, that will become a challenge. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. I think it's like time. We have hard stop. So it was overall, it is really amazing conversation. We discuss from the background of what is exactly happening, landscape wise, primarily the job layout part, how it is impacting, what is root cause of it, that you mentioned. Also you mentioned how exactly we can bridge that gap, what kind of skills we need to focus on, एंड हमें क्या क्या एरिया में फोकस करना चाहिए एंड किस तरह से वो चीज़ों को लेना चाहिए. So these are my actually observation and learning from you from this conversation. Just before we wind it up for the day, I wanted to know that what is the biggest gap you already mentioned, okay, that typically it's a mindset, okay, fixed mindset that they're not open towards learning new things, right? Now, uh, in this particular context, okay, what is the, if you say only one message, core message to the users who are either already working as an experience or about to get, yeah, this is another question I wanted to know, that the freshers, which kind of challenge, because already who are there, the laying off challenges are there, is it also impacting for the freshers, and if yes, what would be your message? We can end up
See,
the
my
answer, yeah.
message is simple. वो एक
Mhm.
लाइन था ना थ्री इडियट्स में,
Mhm.
ज्ञान जहां से मिले बटोर लो. ठीक है.
Mhm. Yes, yes.
ठीक है. तो ज्ञान जहां से मिले बटोर लो उसे. Try to learn. यार, I'm not of that kind of a person who will suggest you कि work for 5 6 hours a day. Okay, if you are
Mhm.
that kind of a person, I have nothing against you. But in my
Mhm.
definition, you as a human, you will leave a certain point of life. Okay.
Exactly.
You will live till maximum 70 or 80. Okay. So I would say, so why don't create a mark for yourself in this world where you are able to be someone whom the larger civilization respect. Okay.
Mm.
Try to do something so that you can contribute to the civilization. And I would say, so it's anything, as I've said it, technology learning is just one part of it. I have heard that these days some of the folks are saying that we are starting to learn Sanskrit.
Yeah,
Great,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, Sanskrit
Yes.
is great language. Language learning is great. Suppose you want to learn French, you want to learn German. That's great. Okay, this is great. Let's suppose say you want to learn the skill of cooking. That's a great skill because every learning gives you something which you can imbibe. Okay, I'll tell you. I'll end this debate with a very small thing. Generally, earlier in day and age, we used to call it whatever we do, we always try to bring in the best practices. So best
Exactly.
practices always help me improve an area.
Yeah.
Okay. But then
Yes.
afterwards a new term developed which is called as next practices.
Mm,
What does
okay.
next practice means? For example, whatever you learn,
Mhm.
which are in whatever area, completely disconnected to your area,
Mhm.
you can bring in that learning into your day-to-day job. You can make your job spicier and you can imbibe the learning in such a way, let's say, which you have gained in a football field or which you have gained while cooking or which you have gained while you are watching an event in New York or which you have learned while you are part of multiple
Mhm.
tech seminars. So anything which you have learned, you can bring it here, showcase the value to the larger world, and you can earn laurels not for only yourself but for people in general, but also for your organization. So that's the beautiful aspect of learning.
Lovely, lovely, amazing. I love that actually idea. I haven't heard. This is the first time. Next practice. Definitely, and uh, when you were explaining, I was imagining that I do that indirectly, but yeah, I don't had a name because whatever these are like whatever observation we have from the market, from different type of assignment role, right? We bring in the project by default, but we don't realize sometime. And the same fashion outside of the work also, some insight we observe, we learn maybe from traveling. I'm just naming it, okay, from cooking or from any kind of event workshop, and we can apply that in our day to day work and improve overall. So awesome, awesome. I love that idea. And having said that, I think we can wrap this up for today. And it was really, really amazing. I learned a lot of things from you on the topic of this current context of job and career landscape. Thank you so much once again for your time, Dipanshuda.
It was a
And
pleasure for me, Devasis, and I think I would like to have more such conversation because now we will, I think, to this audience of ours, we'll try to give them some nuanced discussions going further so that they can understand it's not only we are talking about in vague terms, we are not only telling them what they can learn, but
mhm,
we'll tell them something interesting which they can garner. Okay,
correct.
so as we were discussing devices, I think in the next session mostly we can discuss about what is the evolution of traditional mathematics in software programming. So this will be a kind of an interesting debate for someone who is interested in learning um, how mathematics, age-old mathematics, is contributing to changing landscape of software engineering. Okay, so how you can
Awesome.
upskill themselves? What are the areas? Okay, so there we will go much more subjective, but this and the last discussion which we had is clearly intended to give the audience a feel that this is the world, these are the trend, you have to live with it, but you, nobody is stopping you to learn, nobody is stopping you to prosper, nobody is stopping you to progress. You are your own life kingmaker. You can take a call which is beneficial for your life. With that, I would say, so Devasis, it's always pleasure talking to you
Thank you
because
so much.
whatever we are discussing, we are not discussing just for the sake of discussing. I think I have seen it enormously in you. You keep on reading. Let's say on any given day you tell me, okay, Dipanshu sir, I'm reading this book. Okay, Dipanshu sir,
Exactly.
I'm reading this book. Okay, and the books vary from everything. You don't only not only read the tech book, you read the fiction, non-fiction, personality, behavior, attribute, behavior, you read it. Same is the attitude with me. Okay. And I
Awesome.
think we would like to make sure that the people in general inculcate this habit of reading. Read one
Exactly.
paragraph at least on a daily basis, and that will help. Okay.
Definitely, definitely. And thank you for the future topic as well. I'm really excited to
Thank
connect
you.
on that. And I hope definitely these conversations are adding value to you. Do share your feedback, guys, so that we can improve and suggest topic also you want us to cover and touch base in our upcoming sessions. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for joining today and see you in the next connect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.